In the lawless landscape of the Old West, few figures loom as large and menacing as John Wesley Hardin. A gunslinger with a fearsome reputation, Hardin's life was marked by violence, bloodshed, and a trail of notoriety. In this video, we delve into 10 horrifying facts about John Wesley Hardin, shedding light on the dark and brutal facets of one of the West's most infamous outlaws.
1. John Wesley Hardin's father wanted him to be a preacher. John Wesley Hardin was born in Bonham, Texas in 1853. His father, John Gibson Hardin, a Methodist preacher, and mother, Mary Elizabeth Dixon, had high hopes for their second son, whom they named after John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist denomination of the Christian Church. In his autobiography, Hardin described his mother as blonde, highly cultured, charity predominated in her disposition. The family traveled throughout Central Texas due to his father's preaching trips until finally settling in Sumter, Trinity County, Texas in 1859. Here, his father founded a school where John and his siblings attended. At a mere 9 years old in 1862, young Hardin attempted to escape home and enlist in the Confederate Army. 2. John Wesley Hardin killed his first man at the age of 15. In 1867, while enrolled at his father's school, John Wesley Hardin found himself entangled in a dispute with a fellow student named Charles Slaughter. Slaughter leveled an accusation against Hardin, claiming that he was responsible for graffiti that disparaged a female classmate. Refuting these claims, Hardin countered that Slaughter was, in fact, the true author of the offensive text. The confrontation escalated when Slaughter attacked Hardin with a knife, but Hardin stabbed him with his own knife, almost killing him. Hardin was nearly expelled over the incident. In November 1868, at the age of 15, Hardin found himself in another unsettling encounter. He issued a challenge to Major Maj Holshausen, a former slave who had once belonged to his uncle. The challenge took the form of a wrestling match, which Hardin emerged victorious from. The following day, as Hardin rode past, Maj Holshausen ambushed him, brandishing a stick and shouting confrontational words. Hardin drew his revolver and shot Maj 5 times. Hardin wrote in his autobiography that he rode to get help for the wounded man, but Maj died 3 days later. Fearing an unjust trial in a Union-occupied state where a significant portion of the state police were former slaves, Hardin's father ordered him to go into hiding. 3. John Wesley Hardin was confronted by Wild Bill Hickok. The Bull's Head Tavern in Abilene, Kansas, had been established as a partnership between ex-lawman Ben Thompson and gambler Phil Coe. The two entrepreneurs had painted a picture of a bull with a large, erect penis on the side of their establishment as an advertisement. Local residents raised objections, prompting Town Marshal Wild Bill Hickok to intervene. Unwilling to comply with Hickok's request to remove the controversial image, Thompson and Co. faced a surprising turn of events when Hickok took matters into his own hands, altering the painting himself. Infuriated, Thompson tried to incite his new acquaintance, Hardin, by exclaiming to him, "He's a damn Yankee." Hardin, then under the assumed name of Wesley Clemens, seemed to have had respect for Hickok and replied, "If Bill needs killing, why don't you kill him yourself?" The encounter escalated later that night when Hickok confronted Hardin for carrying guns in violation of local ordinances. Hickok ordered Hardin to surrender his weapons, and in an unexpected move, Hardin handed over his revolvers in a unique and swift maneuver. However, both men did back down. Hickok had no knowledge that Hardin was a wanted man, and he advised Hardin to avoid problems while in Abilene. Hardin met up with Hickok again while on a cattle drive in August 1871. This time, Hickok allowed Hardin to carry his pistols into town, something he had never allowed others to do. For his part, Hardin was fascinated by Wild Bill and reveled in being seen on intimate terms with such a celebrated gunfighter. 4. John Wesley Hardin once shot a man for snoring. In one memorable incident, Hardin was staying at the American House Hotel in Abilene, Kansas in 1871 when a man named Charles Cougar slept in the adjoining room. In the evening, Hardin was awakened by loud snoring coming from Cougar's room. He first shouted several times for the man to roll over, and then, irritated by his lack of response, he fired several bullets through the shared wall in an apparent effort to awaken him. Cougar was hit in the heart by one of the bullets as he lay in bed and was killed instantly. Although Hardin may not have intended to kill Cougar, he had violated an ordinance prohibiting firing a gun within the city limits. The incident earned Hardin a reputation as so mean he once shot a man for snoring. Years later, Hardin said, "They tell lots of lies about me," he complained. "They say I killed 6 or 7 men for snoring. Well, that ain't true. I only killed 1 man for snoring." Later in his contradictory 1896 autobiography, Hardin completely omitted the snoring man from the story, and he related not only a wrong date, July 7th instead of August 6th, but claimed the shooting was a case of self-defense, saying that the man he'd killed had first tried to stab him with a dirk and was a burglar who had tried to make off with his pants. 5. John Wesley Hardin ended many people. Hardin has never officially joined a gang, though at various points in his infamous career he certainly had accomplices. He was a herder, a driver, and a gambler. In the process, he killed a lot of people. In fact, no one knows exactly how many. Hardin claims to have killed 42 men, while contemporary press accounts attribute him to 27 deaths. While in prison, Hardin studied law and wrote an autobiography. He is known for exaggerating or fabricating stories about his life and claiming credit for many murders that cannot be corroborated. Hardin didn't really come to prominence until May 26, 1874, when he killed Deputy Sheriff Charles Webb in the town of Comanche, Texas. Hardin, who was drunk, was celebrating his 21st birthday. Hardin spotted Brown County Deputy Sheriff Charles Webb entering the premises. He asked Webb if he had come to arrest him. When Webb replied that he had not, Hardin invited him into the hotel for a drink. As Webb followed him inside, Hardin claimed Webb drew his gun. One of Hardin's men yelled out a warning, and in the ensuing gunfight, Webb was shot dead. It was reported at the time that Webb was shot as he was pulling out an arrest warrant for one of Hardin's group. The townsfolk were so outraged that they lynched Hardin's brother and cousins. He would then go on the run for 3 years, and a big bounty is placed on Hardin's head. 6. John Wesley Hardin was captured while smoking. Following Deputy Sheriff Webb's tragic demise, a relentless pursuit ensued, with both Pinkertons and Texas Rangers hot on the trail of John Wesley Hardin. The chase culminated in 1877 when a determined band of Rangers, led by John Armstrong, successfully tracked him to Pensacola, Florida. The fugitive was hiding with his wife's family under the name J.H. Swain. He was apprehended. The pivotal moment occurred aboard a passenger train where Armstrong and his Rangers confronted Hardin and his companions. Armstrong drew his Colt, ordering the group to surrender. Hardin, possibly recognizing the Colt for its prominence among the Rangers, purportedly exclaimed, "Texas, by God!" Hardin reached into his coat to draw his weapon, but it got tangled in his suspenders. One of Hardin's Confederates shot off Armstrong's hat. In retaliation, Armstrong shot him in the heart. A physical scuffle ensued between Hardin and Armstrong, resulting in a fierce exchange of blows. In a final decisive move, Armstrong gained the upper hand, delivering a forceful pistol whip to Hardin's head. The officers knocked Hardin unconscious. Hardin claimed that he was captured while smoking his pipe and that Duncan had found Hardin's pistol under his shirt only after his arrest. 7. John Wesley Hardin was sentenced to 25 years in prison. After being brought to trial for Webb's killing, Hardin faced justice and on June 5, 1878, received a sentence of 25 years behind bars at Huntsville Prison. A year later, in 1879, Hardin and a group of 50 fellow inmates narrowly avoided success in their attempt to tunnel into the prison armory. Their progress halted just hours before reaching their goal. Hardin made several other attempts to escape, but failed. On February 14, 1892, while still serving his original sentence, he found himself convicted of manslaughter in connection to the earlier shooting of J.B. Morgan. This resulted in a concurrent 2-year sentence to be served alongside the ongoing 25-year term. As time passed, Hardin underwent a transformation, gradually adapting to the prison routine. He immersed himself in theological literature, eventually taking on the role of superintendent for the prison's Sunday school. Additionally, he pursued legal studies, further broadening his knowledge. His health declined, especially when the wound he received from sublet reinfected in 1883, leaving him bedridden for nearly 2 years. In 1892, Hardin was described as 5.9 feet tall and 160 pounds, with fair complexion, hazel eyes, dark hair, and wound scars on his right knee, left thigh, right side, hip, elbow, shoulder, and back. On November 6, 1892, during Hardin's stay in prison, his first wife, Jane, died. 8. John Wesley Hardin was pardoned and became a lawman. February 17, 1894, marked a turning point as Hardin's release from prison was granted, cutting short his original 25-year sentence after a span of 17 years served. At the age of 40, he returned to Gonzales, Texas, his hometown. Seizing the opportunity, he embarked on a journey of legal pursuits, successfully navigating the state's bar examination and securing his license to practice law on July 21st. On January 9, 1895, Hardin married a 15-year-old girl named Callie Lewis. The marriage ended quickly, although it was never legally dissolved. Afterward, Hardin moved to El Paso, Texas. 9. The tragic end of John Wesley Hardin. In 1895, an effort was made by the El Paso sheriff to curb the town's notoriety for violence by enacting a ban on carrying firearms within city limits. An El Paso lawman, John Selman Jr., arrested Hardin's acquaintance and part-time prostitute, the widow Mraz, for brandishing a gun in public. Hardin, known for his impulsive nature, was stirred to anger by this event. Witnesses later recounted overhearing him issuing a threat against Selman in defense of his partner. On the evening of August 19, 1895, Selman, seeking a confrontation with Hardin, located the renowned gunslinger engrossed in a game of dice at the Acme Saloon. Without a word, Selman walked up behind Hardin and killed him with a shot in the head. Hardin was buried the following day in Concordia Cemetery in El Paso. The motives behind Selman's actions remain shrouded in ambiguity. Whether driven by personal anger, self-defense, or the aspiration to bolster his own reputation as a gunslinger is a question that lingers. In the aftermath, an El Paso jury deliberated on the matter. Ultimately, Selman was acquitted of any wrongdoing, with the jurors seemingly interpreting his actions as a beneficial act for the town, who evidently wanted to be rid of one of the most dangerous gunslingers of the Old West. 10. Reburial controversy. A century later, on August 27, 1995, there was a confrontation between two groups at the site of Hardin's grave. One group, representing several of Hardin's great-grandchildren, sought to relocate his body to Nixon, Texas, to be interred next to the grave of his first wife, Jane. The other group, consisting of locals from El Paso, sought to prevent the move. At the cemetery, the group representing Hardin's descendants presented a disinterment permit for the body, while the El Pasoans presented a court order prohibiting its removal. Both sides accused the other parties of seeking the tourist revenue generated by the location of the body. A subsequent lawsuit ruled in favor of keeping the body in El Paso.
Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.